Hello, I'm Ellen from Be So Creative in Las Cruces, New Mexico, and it's time for Tuesday Tips. If you sew, then you have probably been asked to hem somebody's bridesmaid's dress or prom dress, and it can be a little bit intimidating. I want to show you today how I handle this very filmy, sometimes flimsy fabric and a little handy tip to do an easy hem on these. My friend has asked me to shorten this entire dress by 2.5 inches. So the typical thing I would do in the past is, of course, I would measure up 2.5 inches where I want the hem to finish. And typically this is turned under twice. So 1/4 inch to turn it under the first time, and then it needs another 1/4 inch to turn under again. So that's 1/2 inch. So from my finished hem, I would add another 1/2 inch down here, and I would just start cutting that line that I had drawn all the way around. Here's a little bit of sample fabric. When I cut this, first of all, it's very hard to cut this straight. It leaves a lot of jagged scissor marks. Then after I cut it, now I'm going to have to fold it up 1/4 inch and then come along somehow with my iron and press it. Then after I get that hemmed up, I have to come again and I have to tuck it in again and come along and press it. And now I may have to pin that to hold it in, take it over to my machine and sew that edge on. That's a lot of work. So here's a method that I think you're going to find much, much easier. I have the dress here with the wrong side of the hem up. I haven't cut anything off yet. So here's my measurement that I know I need my hem to finish at, my 2.5 inches that my friend requested. And I know I need to add 1/2 inch to that. From my 2.5 inch mark, I'm going to actually just come down and put my seam guide here, not at 2.5, but at 2.25, 2.25 inches. And I'm going to fold this whole hem up without cutting it first. The whole hem, I'm going to fold it up so that it's 2.25 inches from the old finished hem to my fold line. And I can just stick a pin in here anywhere like that. And I do work in sections, so I might come down here and do another one here. Again, 2.25. I know it's supposed to be 2.5, but you will see the method to my madness here in just a moment. Now I'm going to take my machine and set it to do a basting stitch, which basically means a straight stitch with a really long length. And I have mine on a length of 5. It's the longest stitch I can do. And I'm going to come over here and right at that fold line, about 1/4 inch in from my fold line, I'm going to start sewing this basting stitch. You don't have to worry because you haven't done any cutting. Nothing's permanent here. It's just a basting stitch so it can come out very easily if I need it to. So there's the basting stitch I sewed in. I didn't have to do any pressing. Now, different fabrics may require different type of handling, and perhaps you might need to press that in with other fabrics, but I found that it turned over for me very nicely. I'm going to take my scissors, and this is the scary part because you have to start cutting. I'm going to just trim right above that stitching, and I have my fingers under here to make sure that I'm guarding the regular part of the dress. I don't want to cut into my actual dress. I only want to cut away the part of the hem that I folded up. I'm just going to come along like this, and it does take a few minutes to be careful, but it's not that hard to do. So here's that little section that I cut away that I just did as a sample. You can see that my cutting isn't very good, but it doesn't matter. It's already sewn down for me. So I basically already have the preliminary, the first turn done. So my next step now is that all I have to do is just turn in this basting stitch another 1/4 of an inch. And I find again that I do not need to press it. I find that it folds under very easily for me. This time I'm going to set to my regular stitch length, and I'm doing it you can do it at 2.5 or you can do it at 3. I'm going to be sewing just to the left of my basting stitch. I want to sew close to the upper folded edge and just a little to the left of where I put my basting stitches. And of course you want to make sure you have matching thread in the top and the bobbin. The bobbin is the thread that will show on the front side. And here I go. So here's how the back side looks. There's the front side. It looks beautiful. And now you don't have to, but if you want, you can come back and you can remove your basting stitches if you like. A beautiful double rolled hem, no pressing, easy cutting, easy sewing. So this Tuesday tip comes with a warning. If you learn to do this well, everyone you know is going to bring you their prom dresses and bridesmaids dresses to hem. So good luck with that.